Utah State leads this all-time series 19-7. Lobos have won the last 3, but they went since 1979 without playing one another until Utah State joined the Mountain West.
Well, all the teams, Stu Morrill's had great success in his over 600 wins. This is not one of them. Only 3-12 versus Lobos in his 29-year coaching career.
And 1-6 in this building, and that one win was when he was with Colorado State, not Utah State.
Well, I think a lot of people could say they hadn't won many of them here. I'm one of them. I'm 0 for about 3 trips here to the pit. Finally, I just quit coming in here.
Utah State in the navy blue, and the Lobos in the cherry and silver are underway as Darius Perkins, a junior guard, gets things going. Here's Moore with it. Looking to hand off to Perry. Back outside Smith. Moore in the corner. Up top it goes as Utah State Aggies showing good ball movement on their first possession of the game.
Stu Morrill's team's always been known for their half-court execution.
And Perry lights up a 2 from long range. And Utah State on the board first.
If you're going to guard Utah State man-to-man, you have to guard a multitude of ball screens, especially by Collette. He's going to get a lot of pick-and-roll action this whole game.
A foul is whistled. First foul of the game is on Collette, and certainly the Aggies want to keep him out of early foul trouble. That is what got him into trouble the last time these two teams met on January 10th, a game in which Utah State fell at home to the Lobos 66-60. Collette only 2 points in that game.
Well, Collette's had trouble with foul trouble all year. He's fouled out of 7 games. People kind of forget he is just a freshman. He's a 21-year-old freshman. He went on his Mormon mission for 2 years in Charlotte, but started his career off getting 22 points against Weber State, which was a freshman record. And I think all of a sudden people started expecting him to do that every night. He is very inexperienced.
Devin Williams knocks down the free throws. And it's 2-2. There's a steal. 2-on-1. Delaney gives New Mexico the early lead.
It's a bad start for the Aggies. Foul on Collette and then a turnover. They only had 8 turnovers against Boise State earlier in the week, and Boise State presses a lot. They're one of the best teams in the league taking care of the ball, so that's not a great start for them.
Three-point try, taken and missed by Perkins, and the rebound to a Jet. Ahead to Greenwood, and the senior from Tasmania in Australia. Gives the ball to Delaney. Left side corner to Longwood. Longwood takes it up top. Inside a Jet. That is blocked by Moore. And that's just what Craig Neal was talking about after the Air Force loss, saying that they need points in the paint. And they're not always easy to get, but Craig Neal wants some easy baskets once in a while.
Oh, against Air Force, they only had 15 points from their 4 inside players. So Craig Neal wants that ball in the paint a lot more in this game.
See, the numbers pretty evenly stacked up on either side of the ledger. As a result, we anticipate this one to be another close game between these teams. You see the early pressure being applied defensively by New Mexico. It has resulted in a turnover and a basket.
Both these teams kind of in, or programs kind of in, a transition year. Obviously, Stu Morrill, after announcing his retirement, he had one of the youngest, most inexperienced teams coming back in the NCAA this year. Only 4 players back. He starts 4 kids who had never played a minute of Division I basketball. They have come a long way since that first day of practice.
10 seconds to shoot. Delaney on the right side of the lane. Took an extra step, traveled, turned it over.
You're not going to see many easy baskets in this game, Tim. You're looking at the 1 and 2 best defensive field goal teams in Mountain West Conference games played. This league is unbelievable defensively this year. You can just talk for another 30 minutes about how good this team is, or this league is defensively, and you're seeing 2 of the best here.
Longwood got a hand on it. Utah State controls. Smith launches, misses. A Jet picks up another rebound, and the New Mexico Lobos with a basketball. Quickly Greenwood across the half-court stripe.
Well, that's 2 straight shots for the Aggies. When the ball hits the rim, there's only 1 guy in the paint going after it and 4 retreating back. Rebounding has been a real bugaboo for the Aggies all year. They get very few offensive rebounds.
Delaney gives it back out to Logwood.
Both teams setting a lot of wing ball screens.
Shot clock to 5. Spinning toward the basket was Williams. That one blocked and taken away. Moore ended up with the basketball in his hands. Now Perkins with it.
Collette on the block, averages 2 blocks a game. The Aggies lead the league in block shots. Collette coming off a 4-block shot game against Boise State earlier in the week.
Collette the handoff. Smith. Quick turnaround. Missed the 3. Long rebound battle for New Mexico, winning the early battle on the boards.
Once again, 1 and done for the Aggies.
Greenwood. Williams inside a jet. And that's the easy basket that Craig Neal was talking about as Obat's a jet finishes it off with 2 hands.
Well, poor rotation on the backside as Utah State came to attack penetration. The offside guy, the low guy away from the ball, has got to get inside that post player. That was Chris Smith. That was a little late getting there, a lot late getting there.
A whistle and a foul.
Watch away from the ball if you can. And that, you see Chris Smith coming late into the picture there. He's the guy that has to rotate down. The low guy away from the ball has to get inside that post player.
The foul was on Sam Logwood. His first. Moore got a bit of a screen. Dead on 3, a little bit too long. There were like 4 Lobos that collapsed on that basketball. Nobody could grab it. Jordan Goodman now in the game for New Mexico, wearing number 2. Running underneath the basket. Collette. Around the rim and in.
That's a tough finish going over the 7'1" jet for Collette. But Collette's got long arms of his own. They list him as 6'8", Tim. He looks a little bigger than that to me. I stood up next to him in the warm-ups. He's at least 6'9" in my estimation, with, again, long arms and great bounce.
Collette's basket ends a string of 0 for 4 down the floor for the Aggies, and that one just pinned and thrown back the other way by Deshaun Delaney.
One of the big-time athletes in the league, 6'6", and a high flyer, Deshaun Delaney. Remember, he starts as a 2 guard at 6'6", with that type of athleticism.
Inside Smith, and a steal by Greenwood. Just picked his pocket. Now Delaney trying to get to the basket, cut off. Left-hand dribble by Goodman. He runs into a crowd. A jet with the putback. Obat's a jet with 4 points. That's the difference so far.
But the Lobos are really emphasizing scoring in the paint, and they've done just that. They've driven it, really caused help situations from Utah State. Utah State hasn't been great with their defensive rotation.
Stepping in as Perry got around Logwood and scored 2.
Logwood
and Perry, a freshman.
Logwood looked like a freshman on that one, didn't he, Tim? Defensively, most freshmen are kind of the last thing to fall into place is their man-to-man defense, and Logwood kind of opened the door there for Perry. It's actually a freshman-on-freshman matchup.
A foul is called. Mountain West Basketball on Root Sports is brought to you by Land Rover Albuquerque, proud sponsors of Lobo Athletics. Connect for Health Colorado. You might not think you need health insurance. We all do. Get yours today at connectforhealthcolorado.com. University of New Mexico bookstore. That's where Joe does all of his holiday shopping.
There you go.
Filled up a couple of gift bags yesterday there. Lots of cherry and silver items. See, I think you were over there at the 25% off rack.
I was looking for a little Lobo discount there.
There's another bucket. It's 10-6. End of the ball game. Arthur Edwards That second foul on Utah State just before the break was on David Collette, so he's in early foul trouble with 2. And to replace him is Elston Jones. And the Lobos putting defensive pressure on Perry, lost it out of bounds. And it was touched last by a Lobo. So Utah State will maintain possession with 17 seconds on the timer.
But Lobos are really on point defensively. They're playing with great quickness to the ball, really good rotation on the backside. Utah State, on the other hand, I said there wasn't going to be many easy baskets in this game, and virtually all 5 field goals by the Lobos have been in the paint right at the basket.
Arthur Edwards defending the inbound. Tim Jacobs has checked in for New Mexico. Loose ball, scramble, and the possession arrow favoring New Mexico. Time now for the keys to victory, brought to you by Larry H. Miller Dealerships, driven by you.
For the Aggies, they have been one of the worst rebounding teams, for Utah State, they have been the worst rebounding team in the league all year. They have got to stay even on the glass, and then they've got to hit their free throws. They're second in the league in three-point shooting and last in free throws, and it's cost them a couple games this year.
Entry pass to Goodman. He dumps it off. Right there for the dunk, J.J. Nganga.
Boy, New Mexico just attacking the basket there. A high-level skill play by Jordan Goodman to big Nganga, who is not going to miss many of those.
One of the best rebounding guards in the nation. Drew Greenwood rips that one down.
Green was actually leading his Lobos in conference play and rebounding at 6.
And that is a 3-point field goal for Jordan Goodman, a junior from Temple Hills, Maryland. And it's 15-6, a 9-point lead now for New Mexico. And Moore hits the baseline jumper. Jalen Moore, who is 6th on the Mountain West scoring list, averaging just under 16 points a game.
That was really a well-executed individual play, stepping away from the basket. That's tough footwork for the very talented sophomore, Jalen Moore. I like this kid, Tim Jacobs. I think he gives the Lobos a great kind of different look when he's in the game.
There's steal there by Moore. And the jump shot. Perkins no good. Another rebound for Greenwood. Dennis Jacobs with it. Jacobs switching hands. Underneath it goes, and Nganga for 2 more.
And once again, offense coming really easy for the Lobos. The Aggies giving up way too much dribble penetration, which is breaking their defense down, and not very quick with their rotations after coming to attack penetration.
And the lead is 9. JoJo McGlaston trying to use the glass. And it's out of bounds, and Utah State will maintain control. For New Mexico, what about the keys to the game for the Lobos?
Well, the Aggies of Utah State, one of the best three-point shooting teams in the Mountain West Conference. The Lobos have got to get out to that three-point line, keep them from having a big night there. Then they need help in the scoring area. Someone besides Delaney and Greenwood has got to step up offensively.
New Mexico using a 7-0 run at one point to build their lead, 17-8 with 11:37 remaining in the first half of play here in Albuquerque. Jalen Moore, North Logan, Utah, sophomore. Local product has turned out to be an excellent player for the Aggies.
Well, he and Collette are 2 outstanding freshmen. They return all 5 starters next year, plus the first wing guy off the bench. Whoever gets this job, whoever takes over for Stu Morrow, will get a pretty good team.
Delaney with the board. Off to Jacobs, and New Mexico with the basketball again. They can take a double-digit lead here if they can score.
We just visited the keys for the Lobos to be successful, guard a three-point line, and Utah State 0 for 7 from the three-point line right now.
Well, Bolton stole it. Delaney stole it right back and then was fouled.
Good hustle by both teams. Both teams just giving themselves up to get that loose ball there. This is what coaches call a 50-50 ball. You got to out-hustle your opposition to come up with those.
Bolton committed the foul, third team foul on Utah State. Three-point try, Arthur Edwards on the miss. Rebound by Elston Jones, and he is going to be fouled by J.J. Ngunga.
Silly foul by Ngunga there, going over the back. That was 94 feet from Utah State's basket, and that's a call every time. Lobos in a soft press there where they really don't come out and trap you and try to cause a turnover. They're just going to make you take a little time off the clock and disrupt you a little bit.
Quick little pass over to Bolton. Now Moore. Shot clock down to 10. Bolton finds a little bit of a lane. Fires up a wild shot. Loose ball taken and saved somehow by Jacobs. Who was doing the limbo over the end line, managed to keep the basketball.
Well, Jacobs is a kid I talked about, comes into the game, kind of gives the Lobos a different dimension. Doesn't care if he scores or not. Terrific handling the ball, though, in the open court.
Ngunga needs to get rid of it, calls a timeout before he turned it over.
That came from the double team on that low block catch. Ngunga caught it. The Aggies came and double team. He kind of dribbled out of it, and they just stayed with their double team, causing that timeout.
Greg Neal has to talk it over right now. It's time for the UNM Hospital's injury report. Official healthcare provider of UNM Athletics, Cullen Neal, still sitting it out, and he will sit it out for the rest of the year. He'll seek a medical hardship, trying to get a redshirt season after being injured back in November in Puerto Rico against Boston College. So the son of the head coach, who was expected to run the point this year. Hugh Greenwood was going to be the two guard for the most part.
Well, not only does he score the ball a lot, in the 2 games that he played over in Puerto Rico, 26 points, 23 points, then he got hurt in the 3rd game, but he creates opportunities for the rest of his teammates. He's a guy who can get it to the paint, cause double teams. So when they lost him, they lost a lot at the offensive end.
Jacobs tried to dump it off. It's taken away. JoJo McGlaston.
A rare turnover for Jacobs. He and Greenwood both with really, really high assist turnover ratio.
Off the window, no good, but he gets his own rebound and puts it back. So JoJo McGlaston gets 2. It's a 7-point lead.
The leading scorer off the bench for the Aggies, JoJo McGlaston, started the first 7 games. The last 15, he's kind of settled into that 6th-man role for Stu Morrill.
Well, they need the bench to score, do the Aggies. Last game against Boise State, 0 points off the bench. Ngunga. That's tipped up and in by Devin Williams.
And that's what Devin Williams can do at just a little bit over 200 pounds. He is not the prototypical power forward, but he can run the court. He can get to the offensive glass, and he's just a sophomore, so he is going to, this is a very, very young Lobo team.
McGlaston got to dump it off to Elston Jones, and a foul is whistled on Arthur Edwards.
What's Devin Williams here at 6'8", coming from the perimeter. JoJo McGlaston or one of the Aggies just turning and running to the rim and not getting to their block out. That's a hard habit to get kids to break. When that ball goes up, you've got to find your man first and then turn and look at the rim, not look at the rim and expect the man to run into you to sustain a self-block out. You've got to create room to rebound from.
Sean Harris has checked in for the first time. We're in 30 for Utah State. And David Collette back in, playing with 2 fouls. Smith gets the long one. And that is good for 2. It's 19-12.
Smith, the junior college transfers, had an outstanding year. He's their 3rd leading scorer overall, 2nd leading scorer in the league. I agree with Stu Morrill. You can't hold one of your best players out with 2 fouls and dig yourself into much bigger a hole. I agree with playing Collette with 2 fouls.
Knocked out of bounds by Bolton. And New Mexico will have it with 15 seconds on the timer.
I bet Stu Morrill's thrilled that I agree with him. I've won a little less than 200 games. He's won 600. He probably doesn't really care if I agree with him or not.
I think he's going to sleep the same.
Yeah, exactly. I had the pleasure of being on the same flight from Salt Lake with them yesterday and talked to Stu for a long time. Boy, he and I go a long way back. What a gentleman. He's had great success, but he's done it the right way as well.
1 second was left of the timer. Longwood's shot did not fall. Here come the Aggies. We talked about the Aggie bench not having a single point against Boise State. They've gone a stretch of 262 straight games with somebody scoring from the bench. Takes it back to 2007. Three-point shot used good by Julian Perry.
David Collette showing kind of a facet to his game. Remember, he's only a freshman. Really great recognition, passing out of the post to the corner and creating that three-point shot for his teammate.
Devin Williams had it partially blocked by Chris Smith, and Smith got him on the hand for the foul.
Watch David Collette.
It's just a 4-point game right now. A little too close for that young man's liking. I think he liked it better the other way. 7:27 left in the first half here at the pit.
What's kind of interesting for the Lobos, Tim, it's either feast or famine. The last couple games, their two stars, Greenwood and Delaney, have carried them offensively. Of their 19 points in this game, 17 of them have come from the other guys, which they were looking to do, but Greenwood scoreless and Delaney with 2, but the other guys that needed to score have contributed 17 points so far.
Williams on the miss, then another. And his second shot is good. He's 3 for 4 from the line. And it's a 5-point New Mexico lead.
David Collette, even though he has not scored big, has helped his team get back in this game. Remember, they were a double-digit deficit and looked like they were going to get blown out. Now back in it, only down 5 with the ball.
Collette driving to the hoop and hammering it down. What a dunk. Powerful dunk by the freshman.
He can get it there in a hurry. Again, I think he's a little bit bigger than 6'8", but he is so athletic and got arms from here to Hoboken, Tim. He can do that. He put that on the ground, just one dribble from about 17 feet.
It's a long way from here to Hoboken.
You ain't lying. That's a connection anyway for Flying Delta.
Longwood steps into the lane, changes hands, missed with the lefty, and gets the putback. His own rebound, follows it, scores. It's 22-17.
Longwood does not look like a freshman. He doesn't have a freshman's body. He's been kind of up and down like you would expect of a freshman. 17 against Air Force, 15 against Colorado State. Then he's had some games he's just had 2 or 3, but he is a big, strong kid. You're seeing some great freshmen that will be in this league for the next 3 years and probably be all conference guys.
Mexico with some zone defense. Delaney knocked it out of bounds.
Watch Collette,
to go.
Excuse me, Tim. Watch Collette here off this little shot fake, kind of draw a crowd, and again, make no question what was going to happen at the end of that.
Perkins for 3. Right at the top of the key. Darius Perkins makes it just a 2-point ball game.
Well, the Aggies have kind of weathered the storm. That shows a little mental toughness by such a young team.
An offensive foul is going to be whistled against Deshaun Delaney. That counts as a turnover as well, so Utah State will have a chance to tie it or perhaps even take the lead.
Well, all Aggie fans just holding their breath on that. Again, that was Collette who went over to the baseline to close that out. Very fortunate he didn't get a foul. I think that was a correct call, but boy, that was a risky play. And now down only 2. I think Stu Morrill electing to set Collette out so he didn't get his 3rd foul.
Smith gets a screen. And Moore faked the pass. It was wide open for the shot. And he had a lot of time. Oftentimes when shooters get too much time, That thought starts to creep in their head, doesn't it?
Well, he created time off of a great pass fake there, which is kind of a lost art. He moved all 5 Lobo defenders with that pass fake. And here's a kid that's shooting 40+% from the three-point line. And he shot that 21-footer about 22 feet in. That didn't even touch the iron. Another one of those great freshmen I was talking about.
Jet tried the entry pass to Goodman. That's taken away. Here is Smith to the basket. And that'll be goaltending on Delaney. Count the basket. The game is now tied.
Well, the Aggies on that one were very quick. In fact, on this steal by Jalen Moore, the last guy in the rotation, watching get inside how many times early in the game they were a step late getting there. And then at 6'8", handling like a point guard. I think this kid is a future first-team All-League player.
Well, Utah State has erased a 9-point New Mexico lead. Greenwood, the entry to Goodman. Spot up and hit. Jordan Goodman, he had the game-winning tip-in at UNLV on the 21st of January. Comes up with a big bucket, gets New Mexico the lead.
Goodman and Naganga, both very highly touted junior college players that were penciled in for big minutes. Both of them, though, having to overcome injuries. Jordan Goodman, very, very skilled at 6'9".
Battle for the loose ball, won by New Mexico. In the hands of the guard, Tim Jacobs. Quick pass to Greenwood. Utah State so far has done a very good job defending Greenwood. But not Jordan Goodman.
Jordan Goodman, I just commented on how skilled he is. He's starting to get healthy, and boy, if his play continues like that, then that's really going to help the Lobos down the stretch.
Moore off the glass, no good, and Goodman the rebound.
Really good rotation by the Lobos defensively. They're getting a body between Moore and the basket.
Pass to Delaney. Wide open in the corner, Jacobs. And he is fouled in the lane. New Mexico has scored 3 times out of the last 3 times down the floor. And it's a 4-point New Mexico lead.
New Mexico up 4 over Utah State with 3:23 to play in the first half. We welcome you to our Denver Roots Sports studio. I'm Jenny Kavnar. Coming up on our College Hoops halftime show, we'll get you around the Mountain West Conference. One team has 20 wins. Want to know who? Find out very shortly. For now, we'll send it back to Tim and Joe.
All right, Jenny, thank you very much. Jenny's got the answers on who's got 20 wins coming up, so stick around for that. 26-22, New Mexico leading Utah State.
Well, if you're Stu Morrill, you've got to feel pretty good about things right now, Tim. The way this started, David Collette with 2 fouls early on. They get to a double-digit deficit. Now, you know, trailing by a couple buckets here, but boy, it looked like the Lobos were going to blow them out of the tub in about the first 6 or 7 minutes.
New Mexico had full court pressure early on. They've gotten away from that since. They have mixed up their defense a little, mixing in some zone.
Greenwood has yet to attempt a shot. He leads his team with 3 rebounds. You mentioned earlier, Tim, one of the best rebounding guards in the nation. Also has 2 assists to go along with that.
And now 1 foul.
And now 1 foul.
That'll be the 5th team foul on New Mexico.
Like any time you extend that arm there, you make it pretty easy for the officials. Hugh Greenwood, nonetheless, is having an outstanding senior year. He really had to change roles from going from kind of a support player with those great teams the last 3 years to a guy that had to carry a much more of the scoring load this year.
Nice play right off the glass. Jalen Moore for 2 more. The lead is now 2.
The only guy that Stu Morrill had that really played any minutes at all last year. He started 5 games, and boy, he's a kid that had to grow up quick this year, and he's done just that. He's, I think, as I said, a future star.
There's a 2-handed hammer. J.J. Nganga, his 3rd dunk of the game.
And a terrific pass by Jordan Goodman. I've mentioned a couple times his high skill level at 6'9". He's much more of a three-man than he is a power forward.
Moore for three. Got it. Jalen Moore makes it a 1-point game.
Well, he shot that one a lot better than he did that one that he airballed. Held his follow-through, had good footwork there. He's got a really sweet jump shot. His dad, Jimmy Moore, an outstanding player at Utah State, I'm sure had him out in the driveway at a very early age working on that jump shot or set shot when he was a kid, but he's got great mechanics.
Goodman didn't miss by much.
Now, I said Goodman was really skilled. I don't know if he's that skilled. You know, I think maybe he was feeling a little bit too good about things there, and I think Craig Neal would agree with that. He immediately put his hands on his hips and kind of rolled his eyes.
Well, when you're scoring, sometimes it's about confidence.
Well, they call that a heat check, I believe. How hot am I right now?
Weston Jones gave the ball over to the left wing. Now back to Moore. And Moore trying to fire that one off the glass. Greenwood lobs it ahead. Jacobs with a bounce pass to the right side. 2-on-1 was developing. The ball fumbled out of bounds by Logwood. So now with 1:11 to go, it's a 1-point game. This is sort of what we expected here today, Joe.
It really is. I thought it was going to be a low-scoring game and a very tight game. The way it started, it sure didn't look like it was going to take that direction, but both teams have kind of settled down now.
Here's Greenwood. He'll launch one from three. He missed it.
Greenwood's first shot of the game. He shot more threes in conference play than he has inside the three-point line.
5 against Air Force. The last outing, a win by Air Force. And by the way, Air Force winning again today, beating Wyoming without Larry Nance today. College hoop fans, make sure that you tune in for the next Mountain West basketball game. You can see these same Utah State Aggies take on the Wolfpack of Nevada. The Aggies host the Wolfpack Tuesday, 7 o'clock here on Root Sports.
I'm talking about Hugh Greenwood's field goal attempts during the league. He's shot 105 shots. 74 of them have been threes. He, again, has had to change roles for this Lobo program, this Lobo team. Earlier in the year, I thought he really struggled with that change of roles. He was shooting less than 30% from the three-point line, about 25% from the field, and I just didn't know if he could fulfill that scoring role he needed to. And you can see by stats he has gotten better each year and now taking a big step forward offensively this year. He was kind of more of a support player in his first 3 years.
Even on the rebounding side too. 6 of them a game. Smith, fadeaway jumper is good for 3.
Tough shot, great defense by Hugh Greenwood. Sometimes you can do all you can on defense and a kid hits a tough shot. Chris Smith, a kid that's been so steady all year and so quiet, one of the top three-point shooters in the league. The third leading scorer for the Aggies. He does it almost unassumingly at 6'4".
4-second differential, shot clock to game clock. As the Liberals are trying to run down as much as they can. They'll have 10 once they put it back in play. As Julian Perry knocked that one out of bounds. Stu Morrill's club with the lead right now at 30-28 after the 3 by Chris Smith.
Just amazing that they have the lead right now after the way this thing started out.
Greenwood will launch one up there, and that one will bounce around a little bit and be put back by J.J. Ngonga.
Again, that's what happens. You give up dribble penetration. You're not matched up for the blockout.
Oh, and that one goes. Smith with another 3. Chris Smith with 2 huge threes at the end of this half. And Utah State with a 33-30 lead here at the pit.
This doesn't surprise me. I've seen this kid do this 2 or 3 times. He can take a really tough shot like that and make it look pretty easy.
So your halftime score, the Utah State Aggies 33 and the New Mexico Lobos 30. Let's send you back to our Root Sports studios where Jenny Kavnar is standing by.
All right, Tim, thanks a bunch. Fun day there in Albuquerque. Fun day in the Mountain West. Coming up here on our College Hoops Halftime Report, we got games to give you highlights of. 2 in the books. Wyoming, they had some tricks up their sleeves, but Air Force coming up big, and the Rams and the Rebels. It was a nail-biter in Fort Collins. The highlights are just ahead.